me start you off with the Steelers because I know that's your beat. A lot of people feel, right, Fields and Wilson, they're not trying to bring either back and it's going to be somebody bigger. Is that kind of your mindset right now with Pittsburgh, that they're looking for either to get a deal done for Matthew Stafford or go find a way to bring Aaron Rodgers there?
Yeah, I don't think either one of those. I think priority number one is Justin Fields. The problem is there's nobody under contract currently on the Steelers roster as a quarterback. So they got to be very careful of how they approach this. I mean, you can find yourself real quickly on the outside looking in and being scrambling for, the leftovers, so to speak, of the quarterback position. So they have to finesse this a little bit and pretend to be interested in just about everybody right now until somebody signs on that dotted line. I think that it's Justin Fields they want, but he's going to have other options here coming up. If it's the Jets, if it's the Giants, whoever it may be, that might offer him a better plan to go there, and he might all of a sudden say, okay, I'm going there. Then you're telling Russell Wilson that, you are our plan B. You can't do that. So you have to keep him in the mix a little bit. If you don't want him, then you better keep these free agents in the mix as well, which a lot of them you can't even really talk to yet, I don't believe. Matthew Stafford, I just think, is a little bit of a pipe dream at this moment. So if I'm a betting man right now, I'm saying Justin Fields is who they want. It's just a matter of just the Steelers offer him the right deal or give him the right words to make him come back.
Yeah, the only hiccup that I have on that one, and I agree, if it's between, let's say, Russ and Fields, I would go with the younger guy that at this stage of his career could have the higher ceiling in Justin Fields. But it's like last year, okay, Russ got hurt. They start Justin's winning games. Then they go back to Russ. A year later, you think that they're going to be willing to just say, okay, Justin, we're ready to just throw you in the deep end and see what it's going to look like from start to finish with them.
They had no really idea of what they were getting last year. At least they got a full year of training camp. He had a ton of reps in training camp, OTAs, and obviously he started 6 games to really get a feel of what type of quarterback can you work with him. Can we see improvement out of him? So last year they were going into it blind. So I think that could be a selling point to him right now as well. I mean, they're in a bad situation regardless. I mean, if it's Justin Fields, who's probably your best option just based on age and, pedigree to a point where he was drafted 11th overall a couple years ago. Other than that, man, you're going veteran guys that are going to be around a year or two. There's no long-term answer here. The only long-term answer you see right now is Justin Fields, and that's probably, that's less than 50%, man. That's like a scratch ticket of lottery ticket. You only spend $5 to get it, but you're probably not going to win anything. You might win a free ticket.
Well, you may have to spend more on this guy, but I don't think the payout is going to be worth it. Could they consider Sam Darnold as a long-term option?
See, I'm not going to go and say that anybody's out, because I've been around Omar Khan long enough here in the last couple of years. Is everybody's in play to a degree. He's not going to just – last year at this point, right, sitting in this room right here, after talking to him, it was Kenny Pickett, number one. We had great faith in him moving along. 10 days later, they acquire Russell Wilson and trade for Justin Fields and trade Kenny Pickett. And all of a sudden, all 3 quarterbacks are gone. So I wouldn't say no, but I think the money, once again, is significant. And it's such a small sample size for Sam Darnold. And if you look at Darnold, you got Justin Jefferson, you had Jordan Addison, you had Hawkinson, you had a good running back in Jones, you had a coach of the year, offensive mastermind. I don't think the Steelers have that. So
yeah, to say the least.
Translate over.
Yeah, well, something they do have Mark Kaboly is George Pickens. Now, he doesn't get the ball. He becomes the biggest diva in the league, but when he does get the ball, he's a pretty damn good wide receiver. I know Omar Khan talked about his future today with the year left on the contract. Are you optimistic that they'll get a deal done, and what do you kind of think that deal will look like?
No, I don't think you're going to get a deal done. I don't think that's in their plans. Over the history of the Steelers, they've extended 3 wide receivers in their history past one contract. I think it was Hines Ward, one, Deontay Johnson, two, and why am I forgetting the
Antonio
third one?
Brown?
Antonio Brown, that was the best one of them all, right? And they did that, gritting their teeth in a little bit early, too, because they wanted Mike Wallace. So they don't really do that. I don't think you can go into this season because they'd have to have that contract done before the start of the year because they don't negotiate in season, and then that would leave him to free agency. So to get it done between now and August, I just don't think that's on their radar whatsoever. If worse comes to worse, he has a great year, you tag him next year, go the Cincinnati Bengals route. But I truly don't believe that they're interested in extending him.
And here's my question. Can he handle not getting that deal? Because we know he's never afraid to add a little extra fuel to that fire.
Yeah, that's the problem. As long as he keeps getting the ball, he's fine. As long as he has his 10 to 12 targets, he's fine. When that goes away, then that becomes an issue. But, hey, did we really think T. Higgins was going to be that guy last year? I know it was a little bit different situation with the tag, but he was playing for his money too. Omar did say today that we had a good conversation. He wants to be great. I don't discount that he does want to be great, but you're year 4 now. You're going to have to start growing up a little bit. And honestly, when he was early in the year last year, I thought he did make that step to being an adult in the room. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't. So I don't know. That's the big question mark. That's probably one of the reasons, Zach, is why you don't want to give him the money.
And that's the thing. And I agree. I think it'd be a mistake to pay him now. I still think he has more to prove. And the Steelers, they need guys like him to reach their potential because they don't have a lot of offensive talent. I just wonder, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because even when Kenny Pickett was there and he didn't get the feet down, it became a problem. I remember that one game. I think it was on a Thursday night or maybe it was a Monday night. And then also, it's like how many times even Mike Tomlin, right, who doesn't give the media much, even he was visually and vocally frustrated with Pickens this past year.
Yeah, you remember the Monday night game when he had those curse words on his eye black. I'm sure that didn't go over with the very Catholic owners of the Roonies. They never said anything publicly that they denounced it, but I'm sure he didn't enjoy that. And that's just one of many of him not showing up. I mean, he was injured for a month, and he showed up late to a Christmas Day game on his first game back.
Crazy.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Right. So, I mean, the funny thing about George is I think he's a very bright, smart, intellectual guy, but he just marches to the beat of his own drummer.
Yeah, to say the least. Mark Kaboly here with us. So let me ask you back to Rodgers. I know you said that you think it's going to be Fields, but all options are on the table. Do you think Rodgers and Tomlin, because I think this is something that gets overblown a little bit, they couldn't coexist, they couldn't make it work for a year. I think they would be fine together, but is that like a serious question how Tomlin and Rodgers would gel?
I don't think so. Those two, I think, have pretty much mutual respect for each other. They've been obviously around probably about the same amount of years right now, too. I think Tomlin does like him. I think he'll play for him. I mean, I don't know if you want to go down that route. I'll take it. Makes my job a little bit more spicier to have Aaron Rodgers around. And
you'd be doing darkness retreats and ayahuasca. It'd be fun for you, Mark.
I'm not going in I'm not being like secluded in some kind of hole or something like that. I tell you that. Or what did he do? Make himself throw up or something? Whatever. Well, each his own right there. But, one thing is Tomlin, and he gets criticized a ton, at least in Pittsburgh. But the people say the same thing. The players say the same thing. I want to play for Mike Tomlin. I want to play for Mike Tomlin. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers would be any different. I mean, honestly, if you get past that first tier of, the Fields go somewhere, they don't want Russ, you're scrambling a little bit, I would take a shot at Aaron Rodgers. Why not?
So,
but he'd be in that later tier, though.
Yeah. Mark Kaboly here with us. Great job, correspondent, longtime reporter for the Steelers. Now, obviously, working with the Pat McAfee show. Let me then just say one more thing about Tomlin, because you talked about the perception about him in Pittsburgh, and it is changing. Now, inside that building, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. At the end of last season, though, I said, hey, yeah, they got to find me a franchise quarterback within 2 years, or you got to win me a playoff game within the next 2 years, or I would get rid of him. I know what the perception is nationally and then also locally, but in that building, in terms of him coaching for his future, are we even close to get into that conversation yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so whatsoever. First of all, will you be able to see from guys who've been around that long is their loss for the passion of the game? And you saw bits and pieces of that during the Hard Knocks over what it was, October, November, whatever, December it was.
Yeah.
The guy still absolutely is a football crazy man. So he's not going to lose the love for it, whatever. But he does have one glaring hole in his resume, and it's not being able to draft and develop a quarterback. I mean, he inherited Ben, and he rode Ben until he retired, and ever since then, it's just been, it's questioning whether or not he is capable of, drafting a quarterback, even if they do get a top 10 pick, a top 5 pick for some crazy reason, if it's trading or whatever, or does he have that ability? Right now, no, and it's a glaring hole in his resume. I mean, it's not going to keep out a Hall of Fame or anything, but people are not happy in Pittsburgh with 10 wins anymore. Let me tell you that, because all they look at is the no playoff wins since 2016.
Mark Kaboly, before we let you run, let me just get you a few quick hitters from Indianapolis at the Combine. Right now, what does your gut tell you with the number 1 pick, what Tennessee's going to do?
What I think they should do is I think they should go quarterback, man. I think Shedeur Sanders would be great right there, but I don't think he'll go there.
I think they're going Ward. I do. I saw Schefter say today that he doesn't think that Cleveland will pass on a quarterback as well. So I think Mel Kiper set the stage. He had Shedeur falling all the way to 7. I'd be shocked if Shedeur falls to 7.
I'm just curious of seeing where a guy like Justin Hunter goes. I mean, you talk about a freak. Where does he even fit in at? I mean, talking to Tomlin, and he obviously goes to all these things. He says wide receivers are a dime a dozen. Cornerbacks hard to find. So if you get that guy and put him in as your corner, I don't know if one's too high, but man, just to take a talent like that, I would be very, very interested in just grabbing a guy like that, regardless of where I'm at. If he goes, let's hope he goes to Cleveland.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I think it was. Well, maybe it was Berry today who said, hey, we would view him primarily as a wide receiver, but also they would clearly play him at corner as well. How he's going to be used, you've been around the league for a long time. That's going to be a massive question mark because Coach Prime's going to be saying, hey, you should play him both ways like you did in college.
Yeah, but it's almost impossible to do that in the NFL. You have to be the top of your game just to be in the NFL. To be a star, you have to be better than that. Now you're just trying to do 2 positions full time. I mean, maybe what his coach did, Dion, and play 7 snaps on offense and catch a ball in the Super Bowl 30. But if you're giving me a shutdown corner, if you're giving me a Patrick Surtain, if you're giving me a Sauce Gardner, I'd take that over a Justin Jefferson. I think I would.
Wow. So you go more defense than the offensive wide receiver playmaker.
Maybe that's just showing my age. I haven't grew with the times of the NFL. I'm more defense rather than chuck the ball around. So maybe they should put him on offense.
Well, won the Eagles a Super Bowl this year with that defensive first approach, especially with how they just pounded the Chiefs in the trenches. Last thing I'll ask you, the tush push. That has been a big story today with the Packers wanting it banned. I saw a few other coaches like Raheem Morris and Sean McDermott jump in as well. Andy Reid, though, did praise the Eagles' ability to execute that tough play. Where do you stand on the tush push? Because I think they should keep it.
Yeah, I mean, ask Buffalo. How dominant is it for Buffalo, who missed it about 5 times in their game against the Chiefs, right? You have to be actually pretty good at it. I'm sure you could tweak it somehow. Maybe just do it, but not allow the guys to push. Maybe just make it I guess it wouldn't be called a tush push right then. But it gets very boring, right? If you're playing for 4th and 2, and it's really hard to stop that. I mean, until somebody finds a way. I mean, everything I hear though that's not going away though. I mean, what else are you going to then make go away? I'll play that, talk about Justin Jefferson. He's uncoverable at times. You're going to make him like only run big routes. I mean, so I think that's the little issue there. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Hey, if you wanted to stop it, stop it. I mean, the Eagles are just fabulous at doing it. I mean, blame the Eagles.
Absolutely. Mark, hey, we appreciate it. Enjoy Indianapolis. Thanks so much for jumping on for a few moments.
All right. Thanks.